I think just go.
You're starting to find it.
Yeah.
CPR.
All right. Another certification.
We'll get this thing kicked off real quick. We don't have a lot to talk about. Main things for those of you that I haven't talked to yet. We had our Chevron meeting, obviously, on Tuesday. Not a whole lot of major changes or anything like that. A lot of stuff they talked about was just reiterating safety, reiterating doing it right, stuff like that. One of the main things that they did talk about was possibility of like hand safety stuff. So obviously, like make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. But yeah, one thing they brought up was possibly moving to your back gloves and stuff. But it's not a thing yet or anything like that. We asked that question. What was it? Spots, the safety. So that's Brady and Bob's boss. Right. Yeah, it's required. Well, it's not required. So
But it says he's in the right
Problem,
club.
for the product, yes. So, but I know like for us on the swap side, one of the reasons why we changed kind of some of the stuff, the way we rig up, trying to, eliminate the hazard at the time instead of worrying about wearing PPE. So, stuff like that. But then they also talked to us about obviously financials and all sorts of stuff. It was a pretty good meeting. But another big change too that they're coming down with is, or not change, I should say, just an addition is what me and Mason talked about yesterday. He was talking to you about it this morning, Carlos, is what's called a cap. It's a total work. I think we've all seen that book. I know we talked about it the last time we had a big meeting or whatever and different stuff, but basically what it is going forward is that WSRs should be having a meeting with the operator in the morning and then at the end of the day. And all that is just you and the operator and the WSR talking over what the plan for the day was. So like, hey, we're still swabbing him, we're working on this well. We're still gonna try to see if he gets around. Or hey, we're pulling tools on this one, whatever it may be, but having a plan ahead to start the day. And then at the end of the day, you do a debrief. All right, everything go the way we wanted it, and everything go, everything is safe, we didn't have any problems. Okay, let's plan for tomorrow. Big thing they're hammering on is just having communication and recording it on their side. It's not anything that we have to do on our side, but just recording it down that they had the conversation, you guys talked, and just having a plan going forward instead of reacting to what's happening, and we're trying to be proactive and kind of, have a plan ahead of time. Like that, the time when we had to bring out the, like the subs, for pulling tools or whatever, like the stuff like that. It's knowing ahead of time what we're gonna be doing before the day comes, so we're prepared.
Oh, they also wanted to give us a big kudos. Knock on wood, we haven't had any incidences. Reportable for over a year.
Yeah, that's something, yeah.
So Kevin and what was his boss? Colton. So Colton wanted us to let you guys know, awesome job. And they will be doing something for us for that. Something like that. I don't know, barbecue or
July.
I think they're thinking July.
Yeah, there's a
July.
There's a year mark somewhere in there, but June, July, but. We're very excited. I've never been on location with one of those drills, like they'll shut them down if they'll fire you off. Right. They'll fire, barbecue or bring food or do stuff like that. They also give out, little prizes and stuff like that. It's their way of saying, Thank you for working hard, and not having incidents. What was it, Ensign rig and Ranger rig? There's like two of them that have like 90 years that they've gone without an incident.
90.
9 years.
Yeah.
90
They keep the.
I know, I'm old.
Like in the doghouse, they keep like on a whiteboard. The count, how many days have been breeders. For Chevron.
So they've been really big on hammering on that, and make sure that that was something that we knew that they appreciated, obviously. Mason brought it up, I can remember now too. They did ask the question about weekends. Now, we haven't got to that point or anything like that, I'm throwing it out there, but they're gonna change up the way they do stuff too, because obviously, for those of you that don't know, Chappie is no longer gonna be there, he's moving on to bigger and better things, because there's only gonna be three, WSRs on the swatting side, but they're talking about, Randy, you guys know Chris Hornstein is gonna be one of them. Sounds like he's gonna scoot over into that position, and then sounds like they're gonna try and bring on some more people to try and facilitate stuff.
They talk about, so like any Chevron employees with the badge, they talk about grade badge employees, they're contractors. So they're gonna start utilizing them on the days off. So like if any of their WSR reps take a day off, they're gonna start utilizing them and then also do weekend work. So, chances are though, they said more swabbing than slip-line. Because swabbing's a higher priority because they get a bigger return on it. So.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, they brought it up, they asked that question. It wasn't like, hey, we're gonna start this next week or anything along those lines, but it was something they brought up as a question. Still looking for something.
For, I guess, work with Chevron, they had a huge slideshow, brought out a bunch of different stuff, but they were talking about work that they have, like how many jobs called in versus how many jobs have been completed, and basically how many jobs have been canceled, more or less. The amount of work that is called in that hasn't been scheduled or completed was in the thousands.
Especially on the slip line side.
Yeah. So anytime Lauren takes a day off, it happens, it just keeps compounding. And they did talk about that with Lauren taking off or being sick, how much, because I don't know if they do. But we let them know, like, no, usually we have anywhere from 2 to 3 rigs out for Lauren. When Lauren takes off, it fucking kills us.
It's like a 20 to 25% decrease in
Company revenue. Not just our company revenue, but it is a huge hit to them too, because they're not making that revenue back. So that's what's smart with that great badge. So.
And they also brought up the fact that for slip line, they're gonna talk to Ross and, Steve. And some things are gonna change on that side too. They're gonna start taking on more stuff, whether they like it or not. Cole was pretty adamant about that. Wasn't in a bad way, but he brought it up, like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. They can't just say, no, we're not gonna use the money, or no, we're only gonna be this, so. It's what it is. Huh?
It's the guys. Somebody is in advance.
Doesn't matter, they said that they're gonna start diversifying and making sure everybody thinks they're diverse and all that stuff, so. That was brought up because it was,
Lauren watches 6 crews when
but also one,
watches one.
and Cole wasn't particularly. So,
Yeah.
just to be blunt honest, there's a lot of communicating back and forth, but there's a lot of stuff that. Like, obviously, because we're the only company that does both, we had a unique perspective compared to like some of the Quartet or CWs and Brand. So it obviously changed stuff, which brings me to the other thing I said, that's very plus. It is it's the, I don't want to say that, so. The way stuff is between the WSRs is gonna start to change from the standpoint that slip line and swabbing are gonna start to match each other. This whole deal, slip line being totally different than swabbing when it comes to how we do stuff, whether it's which, which hardware checks you run or how you do stuff or whatever, is gonna start to align. Because we brought that up as far as like, you got slip line does it one way, swabbing does it a totally different way. Like I know I heard the other day, somebody said that with the quick test subs, on the slip line side, we're just pressuring up to 1,000 pounds and bleeding it off right off the bat. It's supposed to be 1,500 pounds for 1 minute, and you have to hold it for that minute. If it's dropping, like if it's, significant drops, right? I mean, there's gonna be a little bit, like, let's say you have to pump in the truck in the morning and it's hot, because you have the truck pumping up, it's cold outside, obviously, there's gonna be stuff like that where differences is gonna cause some changes, but that's the kind of stuff that they're gonna start hammering on, because it's gonna be standard, not just whatever the WSR feels like for the day or whatever it's gonna be. This is the standard, this is the way it is. That's even in the paperwork, it's 1,500 pounds in 1 minute. So just throwing it out there, some kind of guys.
Yeah, they were hammering on us. If it's in their booklet, hardware checks, anything like that, exclusion zones. They said if anything is skipped and one of their reps sees it, you get a warning and that's it. Next time we know. There's no, oh, sorry, I forgot about this. Nope. It's no exclusion zones are out. We're done. Because Colton made a comment saying, why is it that we have one company that does two things and we still utilize basically 6 companies? Where we can consolidate, since we have one company that does both sides, they're gonna be really scrutinizing us as a company. Yeah,
In a good way, because we want to move to that.
they want to consolidate. They don't need 6 vendors to do what we do. They weren't gonna get ready, become ready.
Well, I was just saying, that's obviously right now, it's getting with the prices and stuff, but for them on that side, but obviously he brought it up from the standpoint, if they start to slow down, that's what they want to start doing, so. So watching your P's and Q's, like to say, compliance, make sure that we're doing exactly what we're supposed to. If it needs to be done, it's done. If there's some kind of safety issue, bring it up, but if it's something like, I know we talked about it the other day, like, if Bob shows up on location and tells us that, hey, we can't swap, or, we can't work for Chevron unless the rigs are pink, or something like that, it's kind of silly, but it's, like, there's points where there's stuff that doesn't make sense, right? But if he pulls up and says, hey, I feel like this is doing your hands in the way or something like that, you need to be paying attention to what they're saying and implementing stuff. I mean, if you got questions, ask them, but we need to be making sure that we're complying with what they want, that's why they're there.
They were also doing about to the, we're getting on the pad and we're already, we're catching up to them. We ended up providing together, just a bit of, providing together. Obviously, that's pretty much like B&B or somebody was come out there, but they should have started with the other expenses.
Yeah, so at that point, you're basically, at that point, it's considering a sign offs, like the complete sign offs, not like hey, they're working on something totally separate and we're working on, like, they're doing work on the compressor, but it has nothing to do with you, right? That's a little different, but in that situation, that's a key deal to them. So, and I would say if it was me, I would say in that situation, instead of working towards each other, maybe like, if you're doing an entire 10 row or something like that, hey, you start on that end, I'll start in the middle, work towards it,
No, that's all it was, like, they started on one end, we're over here.
If that rate is having trouble on a well, they're running through theirs.
Yeah.
Still have.
Yeah, I just mean, like, instead of working towards each other, maybe work in the same direction.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
See the way we're gonna.
You start on this for this well, and somebody starts on this well is a shoot fill,
This one. Yeah, it's not gonna catch up. Yeah, I'm just saying normal though, like, yeah, I remember I usually used to, we're still have to work towards each other, and it'll sort of one end, sort of the other, and work towards each other. I'm saying that one would probably be, don't do that, but yeah, if you're going to each other, it is what it is. But yeah, that's a huge deal. And speaking of that, B and B did say they've been slacking, coming to visit us because they've been concentrating on the work areas. That's so expect to see B and B more often. And it's two guys that can't even remember their freaking names, but it's not really some of the guys that are.
But they also said, out of any of the other companies, you guys have been quizzed more. Like, on site,
The testing.
the testing.
Drills,
The drills, yeah.
which have you guys done the supply side for none of this?
More was it, right?
Every Thursday or not every Thursday, every week, so.
So out of our company, we can test the most, like substantially. Like it was double, like in every category. And passed. So, really.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, they're not anything major, right? Like, it's, just basically all it is trying to train that muscle memory, so if something happens, we know what it is, right? Just trying to get that to where if there's an emergency, people aren't running around with a chicken, like a chicken with their head cut off, That way, make sure that we ensure, how we're supposed to do something if something happens, but yeah, that was good. I read about that. That was good. Kudos to the synopsis also.
And they also said, because we showed them what we do, like jobs observation cards and all that, they said that's great. It's fantastic because on their side, they like to reward people who stop work authority in certain situations. Especially if it will stop something catastrophic or, they call it a
That's it.
yeah, serious injury. So, fatality. So if by chance you stop work authority and let your rep know, they let everybody know. Because especially if it ends up being really like saving somebody's life, they actually reward people with that as well.
Well, that's something we're talking about too. We've got to have a sit down about that, but they brought up a good point that they do reward their guys for the stop works, and they also reward the guys for observation parks. So what they do is they go through and they'll take like every quarter, or I think they did one push, I don't remember, but every quarter, something like that, they'll do like, they'll take all of the observations and all the stop works and they'll go through and they'll vote on them. Whether that's upper management, that's all the way up, they'll vote on them and whoever gets the best gets prizes. So it's something we've been talking about too, possibly implementing that, maybe do like we did with the tool change, or whatever it was that you guys did, where we did the contest back when Stephen was still here, where, we're talking still like maybe, like speed waves, or something like that as a prize for, best job observation and best stop work. And we're not, like I say, we're not talking, I mean, it's not a bad thing to turn one in for maybe shut down a highway or something, but we're talking about stuff that you, paying attention to stuff and you notice that, hey, like, what was it? What was that day when the tool dropped on Justin's truck? That was you-ish, right? Something like that, right? Let's say in that situation, who else was out with it? Was it just you and him? Okay. So let's say somebody else was out with it, and let's say that for some reason somebody noticed it and prevented something like that happening. That's the big kind of stuff that this stuff works meant for, right? It's not, shut down highway and stuff like that. That's part of it, right? But that's in our SOPs. It's not necessarily catching something from the standpoint of something abnormal or whatever. But like I said, that's the kind of stuff that they like to reward. And it's something that we're talking about doing to try and help kind of obviously get you guys kind of on board with it and everything along those lines. Just something about that.
And speaking of job observations, those need to be turned in weekly.
Enough with Carlos, okay?
Carlos, telling me like that. Overachieving now.
I'm for sure.
And it was a good, like I said, it was a good meeting. Supposed to be an hour long, turned into 2 hours, so. I was gonna give you. Nope. Actually, I didn't talk that much, honestly. Blake actually is the one that read all the slides and stuff, so. That's what it did. Otherwise, it wouldn't be cool. It's fuck me.
They're really significantly mostly the Chevron parts. Engineers there,
So Kevin, Dennis Boss,
and your safety guy.
Scott, safety guy, and development, brings up here, the Bob spots.
Yeah.
And we have 2 engineers, so it was a good get together, so.
That's it.
Yeah, what do you think?
Um. Yeah, that's fine for this year.
Okay. Yeah, that's something I totally forgot to send out last night, so. Yeah, never mind. Okay, I'll fix that one. Do any of you guys have extra gas money? Whether in the rig or whatever,
I'll give you one that I got that I.
was that, that was that extra one that wasn't, we weren't sure if it was gonna work right. If you do, let's get them back to us so we can figure out how many we've got. I know we're missing some, I'm sure. We need to obviously figure out a better, make sure we got better count of who's got which ones and stuff. That's something we gotta get caught back up on. David saying he's fixed a couple, so we were to the point where we had just the bare minimum for you guys working, so we got that taken care of, but if you have any extras, make sure we get them in so we can get them checked out, fixed, maybe so we've got, anything. That way Blake and David can have their gas monitors because they're actually in certain locations.
What?
So, that was something we talked about.
What we talked about, but also Kevin.
Oh, that was it.
No, so if Lauren is watching more than one rig, they're on separate pads. If pads out running a truck, I mean, I'll be giving them the family. So glad.
Yeah.
I'm lower priority jobs.
And that goes for us too, on our side, swagging. And if we have one of us out, like Pat, myself, David, one of us, we might even skip between the sides, but it's just something that we talk about to help them out
And then that training.
and the training. Going forward, it's not a requirement, it's something they do in the work over rigs and the requirement, it's something they brought up for us, kind of, good thing to get done, but supervisors will get it done first and then it'll trickle down to the operators, but we're gonna have it to where we'll send everybody through a well-controlled class. And what that is it's just
3 days.
2 or 3 days, whichever one it is. Basically, it's just their way of ensuring reliability on both sides. If we are out there watching a rig, kind of helping out, if something happens and we know the proper steps and priorities and et cetera for well control stuff. So. But like I said, that was the thing on work rigs, that's
Every pusher.
every pusher, every operator,
Pusher.
driller, whatever they call it, everything is certified on that. So. But that's going down the pipeline, obviously, like I said, we'll be supervising and get it figured out first, because we can't send everybody at once, obviously. So it'll be a deal where it's like, we'll probably just send one at a time or whatever. It may be in person, we haven't really figured that out yet, whether it'll be in person or whether it'll be online, but either way, it won't be something that, won't be one of those classes where you can be doing other stuff. Literally, they track your face on the webcam and all sorts of stuff. They have a bunch of requirements that if you're not paying attention, they'll tell you stuff like that. So it's literally if you're doing that class, that is the only thing you need to be doing. So we're pretty strict about it. So we'll figure it out, but we'll want to come down the road on that one. Pat, you said you didn't have anything for the good of us.
Not my whole body, so we're gonna split up.
You guys are gonna talk to you guys, small guys will talk to you too, Joey will talk to you, how we'll get together separately, but If there's anything else, anybody got anything for the good of everybody?
Sure.
Let's split her up, grab a donut. Oh, did everybody sign the sign-in sheet? Did it? Get your name up.